Welcome to Module 4 of Records Management 101 for University of Illinois employees. In this module, we will be discussing records inventories and your options for disposal or transfer to the university archives. If you have not already watched the previous modules of this course, you might want to go back and review them for other basic concepts.
Our learning objectives in Module 4 are how to inventory your records,
Learn when records have archival value and what the process is for preparing records for transfer to the archives.
learning the process for disposing and destroying your paper and digital records, and learning special requirements for disposing of records that contain sensitive information. You might be looking around your office right about now and thinking that you're not sure you know what is in those boxes and filing cabinets. Chances are you have at least some records that are past their minimum retention requirements. The best way to determine this is to do an inventory of your records and identify the different types of records your office is holding. From there, you can determine their retention requirements and what to do with any that have met those requirements.
For any inventory, it's important to take on the project in manageable chunks. This probably is not a project you can complete in 1 or 2 days, especially if no records inventory has been done for your unit in the recent past.
While you're inventorying the types of records your office creates, make sure that you also talk to the employees who handle the records directly. They can often be great sources of information about business workflow practices and existing filing structures. Again, it's best to take on a big project like this in chunks. Take it one room or division at a time, and then when you feel like you have a complete picture of the types of records that division has, you can move on to the next chunk of the project. Proper records inventories take time and patience, but the ultimate result is knowing exactly what records your office is generating, how they are organized, and what their retention periods are so you can have peace of mind going forward. While getting to know the records in your office, you might come across some records that are appropriate for transfer to university archives. If you're not sure, but you think you might have some that would be of interest to the archives, please contact RIMS and we can help identify records that have enduring value.
Remember, just because a record is old doesn't necessarily mean it is significant or worth retaining permanently. Also, the archives are only interested in records that are considered inactive by your office, meaning they are no longer used for current business needs. These inactive records are retained in order to preserve the information contained in them for future research or study, or for reference by administrative offices. After transferring to the archives, your unit will no longer have custody of the records, but your unit can always have access to the records. Access must be arranged with archive staff.
Paper records should be transferred to the archives in standard records boxes. The records should be placed in the boxes in the order in which they were created and managed by your unit. Transfers must include an electronic listing of folder titles for the materials, along with the date range of the materials in each folder.
If available, electronic records are preferred to paper records by the university archives. Electronic records may need to be converted to a standard file format. Once you have identified electronic records that are acceptable for the archives, either RIMS or archive staff can help you with the transfer process.
So, what about all those other records you found in your inventory? The ones that aren't eligible for archival transfer but have met their mandated retention periods. When you have identified records that have met their retention requirements, you should contact the RIMS group through the website or email with a description of the records. We will then work directly with you to coordinate this disposal by submitting the proper paperwork to the state and notifying you when you have received approval. This process typically takes about 1 month. When we notify you of approval, we will give you a date on or after which you can destroy the identified record.
Remember, the State Records Act requires you to obtain permission to dispose of university records prior to their disposal. The State Records Commission must approve the disposal of any university records. Approval of the disposal of university records is coordinated by the RIMS group. Please do not dispose of university records without contacting RIMS first.
Paper records and non-records that do not contain sensitive information can be disposed of the same way as any other kind of paper. In addition, you can use the following methods for disposal. Contact campus recycling facility for a pickup, or work with an outside approved vendor to dispose of materials. Some records might have additional requirements for disposal if they contain personally identifiable information, health information, or other sensitive data, such as social security numbers, student-related information, or credit card numbers. Records with sensitive data must be disposed of using one of the following secure methods.
Securely transfer materials to a campus recycling facility via monitored pickup or in a locked container for shredding.
Work with an approved outside vendor to securely dispose of materials.
Use a crosscut shredder to shred the materials to a maximum width of 3/8 of an inch. Electronic records should be purged when disposal has been approved. If you have access permissions to do so, delete the records yourself. If you do not have access permissions, ask the appropriate person in your department to delete them, and follow up with that person to ensure that the records have been deleted.
Okay, let's recap everything we've learned in Module 4. We've covered how to inventory your records,
Learn when records have archival value, and what the process is for preparing records for transfer to the archives.
learning the process for disposing and destroying your paper and digital records,
Learn special requirements for disposing of records that contain sensitive information. You have completed Module 4 of Records Management 101 for University of Illinois employees. This is the final module of the Records Management 101 course, but you can always visit our training page for additional resources. Any links or supporting help guides mentioned in this video will be linked on our training homepage for this course under Additional Resources. If you have any questions or need assistance, you can contact the Records and Information Management Services Group at brimsgroup@uillinois.edu.